We have Andrea on the line.
Hello.
Hi.
Good to
So
speak to you again.
I'm really excited to talk about Coachella Hacks. I think it's going to be really awesome because Coachella is such a big event. So how do we prepare for it? That includes, how do we prepare for music? How do we, where do we stay? And what kind of style should we think about?
Right. So Coachella is such a big event that people are already talking about what they're going to do for next year. And there are groups online, on Facebook, and in other places where people go to chat and share ideas. But one of the big things is finding a place to stay. As as you well know, that can be a difficult process.
The first time I went, I was really lucky because I was on Coachella.com and I found a group of friends, right? So it's just not about the place sometimes, it's also about the experience. And I was really lucky because my friend just allowed like a couple women to stay with him and he didn't charge any of us anything. And he was an entrepreneur, and of course we offered. So that was very surprising. Everyone thought he was a scam, but he actually wasn't. And everyone had a great time. He actually had VIP tickets, and he traveled to Coachella with us just as normal people. And that was like near in Indio. So even though we stay really close, we still have to drive in. And I think we were parking at the yellow line because I remember walking really far into
Hmm.
into Coachella. I think we have some hacks on that, so stay tuned. So Andrea, like we basically stay in Palm Springs, and we had no issue, right?
Right. And Palm Springs is definitely the place to be if you want to spend some time away from the festival and just relax. Palm Springs is so beautiful. It can be pricey. And of course, people book hotel rooms well in advance. Um, but it's definitely the premier place to be, aside from maybe VIP camping.
There was a backdrop at our hotel, which makes it really nice, especially by the pool. At in the I think we stay at the Renaissance, and the balcony basically faces the pool, and then behind the pool is just a giant set of mountains. And that backdrop was just gorgeous, wasn't it?
Definitely. And I would say out of the two times that I've been so far, staying there at the Renaissance in Palm Springs was the best
That was a
in
good one.
terms of yeah, in terms of just the beauty and ease of the whole hotel.
It was about what 20 minutes away from, or 30 minutes away from the festival, and we
Yes.
enjoyed the pool a little bit. And the service, the people were really nice. Like, I remember we went to the pool, and I was, basically putting the tables together, and the hotel people basically came out and helped us and told us not to do anything.
Oh, yes. Yes. So whenever you stay at a hotel for Coachella, the service is going to be top notch,
Yeah.
um, especially if you're in Palm Springs. But there are definitely a few other options, um, especially when it comes to hacks. I would say look into camping. If you can survive the heat, it's one of the most affordable ways to go and also provides really great ease of access. So tickets for Coachella typically go on sale like the end of summer, early fall
Hmm.
for the following year. And people get in and book their camping spots for Coachella um, when they buy their tickets. And you saw how close the campgrounds are
Yeah,
um,
it, it
at the
was
venue.
it was pretty cool. It was the green line, and they had basically a sign for every single event, just the major lineups, and that's where the
Mm.
camping people are. And it just sounds like it just seems very fun. It just gives me that festival vibes when as we were walking through the green line.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The one thing I would say is that while camping provides great ease of access, um, it definitely does get hot, and some people can't handle the heat. But if you live in California and you're used to it, and you want to do Coachella and have a great time the first time, I would say definitely look into camping. The first time that I went, I actually booked a campsite at a campground outside of the venue, about 2 miles away, and it was such a short drive. It was so convenient, you know. And also, while the prices do go up around Coachella weekends, it was well worth it in terms of saving time and saving money. I know hotel rooms can cost anywhere from, we'll say, $95 to $500 a night, depending on the location and the quality of the hotel. So if budget is a big part of your planning, definitely look into camping.
Yeah, and also I think you can also find people who might have spaces who would share one with you. So you would basically go to different communities. So there's Facebook groups just called Coachella Weekend One or Coachella Weekend Two. Um, there's other communities that you can join so that you could join other communities. So especially if you're planning to go there by yourself.
Right. And I would say checking online and meeting up with people is probably the best way to navigate when you're going alone, because it's so easy with technology these days to get in contact with people and just make arrangements so easily. This year, I made my arrangements in one day. I bought my wristband and I found this hotel spot all in one day and was able to make it happen relatively easily just because I was able to speak with people like on Facebook.
Yeah, that's like super 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 awesome. So we talk about stay. How about, I think we found like the best route to actually walk into the festival. And that was yours, right? So, you want to talk about that?
Yes. So there are a couple of different transportation options once you've found, your spot to stay. I would say the best advice that I could give, honestly, drive. Parking is plentiful. There are several different lots. And if you get there relatively early in the day, as we did, you can get a great spot. And then you have access to your car because you have unlimited ins and outs, at the festival. So you can leave things in your car. This year, I actually went back to my car to change into warmer clothes, which was a lifesaver because I was freezing with those temperature changes.
Yeah, and then I think it was the blue line that was a little bit closer to the festival than the other color line to walk into the festival. I think the yellow line was the further, like it's a bit far. The green line was kind of fun. I kind of like that festival feel because I think all the little carts are there. And then
Yes.
the blue line was a little bit closer.
Yes. So if you look at the maps online, there have been some changes over the years, but currently the blue line is the closest. We were lucky. We were able to get a spot in the blue lot the first 2 days. The green lot was also pretty easily accessible, a little farther away, but still worth it. And then I think the farthest one is the yellow lot. That might have changed. In recent years, they've added premier parking, so you can actually pay to get a better spot that's closer to the festival entrance,
Yep.
which is nice, but it does add to the overall cost. And then there are shuttle options. So there are shuttle options that pick up from different hotels and campsites throughout Indio and the Coachella Valley, as well as in Palm Springs. It used to be that shuttle passes were included as part of your ticket cost. Since then, they have started charging for shuttle passes, so I would definitely weigh your options, see which is most practical and most affordable when considering transportation options.
And then how about let's talk about a little bit about fashion. You know, fashion, of course, is very important for Coachella, and it seems like it's just fun, and like you said, it's just part of art. So, what are some fashion hacks in terms of dress? Just really dressing as to be a part of that spirit of Coachella.
Yes, so one of the best things I think about Coachella is that the people are part of the festival. The way that they dress really contributes to the overall look and feel, and everyone has their own different personal style. One thing to keep in mind, of course, is the weather. As I said, I had to go back to my car and change into warmer clothes in the evening, so that's something to definitely keep in mind. But I saw a lot of beautiful outfits, some pieces from Free People and other great designers, and then also, surprisingly, some rave wear thrown in there. I love the neon colors. It's such a bright pop in the middle of this desert that's so, gray and brown and beige, so neutral, So it's always such a thrill to see so many people in such bright colors and such fun fashions. And people do go all out, of course, every year.
So with regards to um the style, I saw a lot of shorts with the cute top, right?
Of
What
course.
was your favorite outfit?
Well, in my case, I was kind of lucky. I had a lot of my clothes with me.
Hmm.
None of my outfits were pre-planned. I didn't do any shopping this year, as many people do. But I love the look of sheer lace and mesh.
Hmm.
Um, my second outfit for day two was mostly sheer, all black,
Hmm.
kind of gangster in a way.
I
Um,
love your black outfit. Like, you want to
yeah,
describe
I
that?
think
That was
I
really
think that was
cute.
my favorite one.
Yeah.
So I wore a sheer top from Forever 21, um, very long in the back, with some tiny little booty shorts underneath some blocked out tights. I wore my combat boots. I think foot protection is very important. A lot of people wear sandals and regret it because it gets so dusty. Obviously, your feet are going to get really dirty by the end of the day if you're walking in sandals. Um, Also, if you are like me and you get into the crowd, getting your toes stepped on is not fun. So I think my outfit for day two with the combat boots was probably the most practical, but also the most fun, and it provided a lot of layering without being too hot. And I think that's definitely the kind of mindset you want to be in, right? You want to have something that's cute and comfortable, also lightweight, but keeps you, shielded from the sun and keeps your feet protected.
Um, I love your black outfit. I like the other outfit too. I think that on the third day you had shorts and a little bluish top. That was really cute.
Yeah, that was a fun outfit. I kind of call that my brunch outfit, honestly. Um, a sort of mint-colored sheer top with floral embroidery on the front by
Hmm.
Vera Wang. Uh, I call it my fancy T-shirt. And then some mint-colored striped shorts. I did wear sandals on the third day, which I changed for my Nikes um, once it got cold. But yeah, having fun with your fashion for Coachella is a great way to be more involved. And it was something that I really enjoyed doing, sort of putting these outfits together on the fly. And I'm glad that you liked my outfits.
Yeah,
It makes me
I
so
love all
happy.
your actually I love all your outfits. Like the I mean the first day I just I think you were wearing shorts. I was wearing shorts too. I just wanted to actually kind of ease in. You know what I mean? And
Hmm. Yeah.
so I think it's just easier just to wear like just a cutout shorts and t-shirt and just kind of go in there, or a top and just kind of like see things, right? And then like I think second and third day you're pretty much in the middle of the concert, in the festival,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
and then you see very creative outfits, as well. I
Hmm.
think that's one of the beauty of Coachella, is that you see everyone's expression, and that makes it very, very unique.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say fashion hack, when in doubt, wear shorts and a cute top.
Yep.
It's always a winning combination. It's going to be comfortable and it's going to get you through any of the days, honestly.
Let's talk about shoes. Like I was wearing like a platform shoe on the first 2 days, but I think we were there from about I say noon until like 1 a.m. until the festival was over,
Hmm.
and by 10 or 11 p.m., my feet was hurting and I couldn't walk. And I was wearing this platform shoes. And then the third day I was wearing sandals, and then I was okay. And I later found out that that's kind of normal. That even if you don't have comfortable shoes, you'll be tired, especially when we ourselves spent a lot of time walking around Coachella trying to catch different shows. Other
Hmm.
people who were just there to hang out, or maybe there later, also got tired and couldn't walk. So I can't emphasize enough to bring a pair of comfortable shoes and get rested throughout the day.
Absolutely. People underestimate how large this festival really is.
Yeah.
It's one of the largest in the country, and this venue is massive. You can track your steps on your phone and see exactly how many miles you walked over the course of that weekend. And yes, wearing comfortable shoes is probably one of the most important things to remember. Never wear new shoes to Coachella. Never wear high heels to Coachella. If you want to take photos in some cute shoes, I would say stay somewhere close so that you can go back and change those shoes because you will not survive if you don't wear comfortable shoes to walk around. Um, it can be really tough.
Let's talk about backpacks. So we had some, experience with backpack. I basically bought instead of a fanny pack, I bought a little backpack, like a small one, just enough to carry items to Coachella, and that's it. So I think there's a different, I think you had a see-through fanny pack that was really nice, because they do check
Hmm.
our bags when we get in. Um,
Yes.
and that was easier. But the first day you had like a bigger backpack.
Yes. So the first day, I brought a day pack with a hydration bladder inside. They do require that your bladder be empty before you enter the festival because they don't want anyone sneaking in, some kind of mixed drink. But if you are one to spend a lot of time walking around from different stages, you're definitely going to want to stay hydrated, and the hydration pack is great for that. Um, I would say to keep in mind that certain backpack sizes are not permitted within the festival. Always check the website for information regarding what you're allowed to bring. Smaller backpacks, totally fine. Yours was the perfect size. But I did find that having the backpack on for the first day, which was probably about 12 or 13 hours of walking around,
Hmm.
it was a little frustrating because it was hot. Obviously, that was the hottest day. Um, and while it did help keep me hydrated, it was also just something extra to be carrying around. So I did switch to a fanny pack for days 2 and 3. I have a clear fanny pack, which is pretty highly rated for all festivals. It gets through security very easily because you can see everything inside of it. Um, and I noticed that a couple of other people went the same route that I did in buying a collapsible plastic canteen. I got mine at Walmart for like $3, and it basically rolls up when it's empty. You stick it in your fanny pack, comes with a carabiner. I just clip it on the belt of my fanny pack and carry it around once it's filled. and I can dance hands-free and still stay hydrated.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. That, and it didn't look bulky on you at all.
No, it's pretty small.
Yeah, it
It
was.
does limit what how much you can bring in. But again, because of the security measures that they were taking, they don't allow in a lot of a lot of things. So it ended up being the most convenient option for me.
Yeah, I I didn't really drink a lot of water. But there were like a lot of marketplaces, So I think Coachella could be very expensive in terms of food, and there were some little things that we found that were really helpful. So I think one of the most important thing we did was that on the first day we ended up scouting a lot of the places. So we went to some of the art installation, and we did the Ferris wheel, and we got to see an overview of all the places, and then we went to Spectra, which is really the art installation that you can see different colors. And we found out where things were. We also walked around. So what would be some of the food hacks or water hacks for Coachella?
I would say definitely pick up an information booklet or check the app for the different food places. There were so many that we didn't even see because we didn't visit certain areas of the festival. But the food options, there are so many. You can honestly eat a different meal, for every meal, for every day, and never have the same thing twice.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I'm really pleased with the Coachella food because I went to Burning Man, and Burning Man has no food. I mean, there is no marketplace per se. I mean, there are camps that may have food, but it was really hard to find them. So I love the different food places at Coachella. Um, and I think the first day I had Korean barbecue bulgogi, and this portion was really small. And then I found the burrito place, and it was like three kind of meat. It was really good, and it was just called El Special. So I mean that was really filling even half of it. So everything is about like 15 and up, right? So I thought that was pretty helpful.
yeah, everything ranges from about $8 to $20. So you can go and get, say, a smoothie for $8, and maybe that will hold you over if you add protein. But that's a relatively small item. The higher end, higher quality foods like the bulgogi are going to cost you more and not necessarily fill you up. So it's important to kind of scout out what kind of food options there are and see what's good in terms of value. That burrito was delicious and was a great value,
Yeah.
and we found that in the marketplace. But honestly, there are so many food stands all over. Again, they cater to every taste, and there are vegan options and vegetarian options throughout the entire festival. So food was actually quite good, and while it wasn't always the best value, it was definitely worth having,
Yeah.
considering our other options.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first food I had was the pizza, and I wasn't really pleased with it. I think the pizza in the bear stand might have been better. But I found
Hmm.
the first one that I had by the Sahara stage a little bit drier than usual. But then later on I saw the other pizza that other people had from the bear tent. It's just a place where you can get bear. But it has like they also have other food in there. Those look a little bit more appetizing. So
Hmm.
definitely look around and shop. So then there are also free water stands, right? That you can get water from.
Yes, so there are several hydration stations throughout the festival where you can fill up your water bladder for your hydration pack. You can fill up reusable water bottles, or your collapsible canteen in my case. But they do have water stands throughout the festival, and they actually pride themselves on saying that they have not increased the prices of their water bottles. Water bottles have been $2 for many, many years, and I don't think that they're going to increase the prices on it, which is nice. So staying hydrated is actually super easy. They make it really easy, and it's wonderful.
So, yeah. So you can get water there for $2, or you can bring about an empty bottle to get water, to be hydrated. And so that's food. And then we spoke a little bit about fashion and where to stay. Let's talk about the app. So I use the app to schedule all my lineups. They changed it a little bit to include, some kind of games where you can scan things and earn points. So how do you find the Coachella app?
I thought that it was great. It seems to be one of the newer features for the festival, and a lot of different festivals have been kind of jumping on the app bandwagon. But the altered reality feature, I would say, was probably my favorite thing. It was great to see the lineup and be able to create your own schedule, and also to have easy access to the maps. But the altered reality portion of it made seeing everything in real time, where everything is, where the art installations are, what kind of food options there are, where the stages are, just by aiming your phone's camera in different directions. It was so cool, so smart, and I think it's going to add a ton of value for the festival goers over the next few years.
So the AR Coachella camera is under experience in the app. I actually learned a lot about location, like for the first time. So I was able to know like the name of all the stages, most of the stages, even the little ones. So it was like super, super helpful. Even the art installation, reading about it, knowing about it, and looking at it. The experience was just wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's went to different stages throughout the festival to hear different artists. So how do you actually create your schedule when you were looking at the lineup? Were all the artists you knew before? Were there some artists that you just discover at the festival? Did you do any research beforehand? Do you listen to YouTube before you decide that you wanted to go to the stage, listen to the artists?
Well, it's funny because Coachella is a festival for all genres, right? And there are 3 kind of main stages and then 3 smaller stages. So you kind of know that the main stage, Coachella stage, is going to have lots of pop music, a lot of top 40 radio hits, which I'm totally cool with. I thought Bozzy at Coachella stage was fantastic. And looking at the different stages to give you an idea, for example, Sahara, the second largest stage, was more EDM, and then the outdoor theater was more alternative. And just keeping that in mind and looking at the different artists that are playing there, you can kind of get a feel for what you might like and where you might go to discover new music, because there are so many new artists playing Coachella that you can go and just wander around when you don't have any, set plans, and just discover artists within the genre that you listen to. So we spent some time at the outdoor theater at the suggestion of one of our friends who we were staying with. And Gorgon City was actually really great. I had never heard of them before, but I knew that they were kind of like in between alternative and EDM. And I actually really enjoyed their set.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah, and of course, I'm a big EDM fan, and spending a lot of time at Sahara Stage was, definitely in my schedule. But going early and getting a glimpse of a couple of new artists was really enlightening. I believe, what was it, Alice Merton or Anna Leno
Hmm.
we saw while we were eating. We were just kind of sitting by the side, hanging out, eating, and we caught just the end of her set, and I loved what she was playing. So I will definitely be listening to more of her music. And then, let's see,
Yeah, I mean, I told you.
Coachella stage.
Yeah, I think we spoke about John Hopkins a little
Yes.
bit about last week, where I think you went to the car and I went to the smaller stages to check out some of the people there, and I discovered him, and his music was pretty good. He was at the Gobi stage from 9:40 p.m. to 10:40 p.m.
Yeah. And from what you played for me in the car, I thought he was great, and I would definitely check out more of his music too. Um, I would say the smaller stages are really great for discovery just because they feel more intimate and
Yeah,
you can get a better view and really get into what's being played there. But there were also other parts of the festival, for example, the Heineken area and then the Absolute area that were playing different kinds of music as well. Um, and if you have the time, I would definitely recommend just wandering around, checking out the different stages, keeping in mind what stages play what genre of music, just to go and discover some new stuff.
yeah, yeah. I think that's very awesome advice. I also saw churches um, at one of the other stage, and she was awesome. But I've heard her before, so you
Hmm.
can also go from stage to stage, and sometimes it's far away. I mean, churches was at the Mojave, so there's an overlap because she was playing from 9:30 to 10:20 where John Hopkins is playing from 9:40 to 10:40. So I basically had to split and distribute my time so that I can listen to two artists on the same time. There's some overlap, I believe.
Oh, yeah. One of the hardest things about a festival like this is that there are so many great artists
Yeah.
playing that there's always some overlap. Time conflicts are one of the biggest issues that people face every year. And oftentimes, if the lineup isn't good enough and there's too much overlap, people will sell their tickets. They'll just say, I don't want to go, and they end up selling their wristbands.
Yeah.
So conflicts are a big issue for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about wristbands, because I think that is really, really helpful. So if you didn't have time to get your tickets on Coachella.com or one of the legitimate ticket site, you can still get your tickets. But there are scams. So I just wanted to mention that because I think that's very important. And I think the quickest way that it's a scam is when they say they're in another another city, like New York, and they're gonna send you the ticket, and they want you to pay with Zelle, because once you pay Zelle, which is meant to be family and friends, they can't. The bank will not reverse it. So I just want to make sure that the community is really careful about that. So I think the easiest to get a ticket is like if someone sells your wristband, like in person.
Yes, I would say if you can't buy it online through the Coachella website or through a reputable site like StubHub, you should definitely meet in person and pay cash. Don't ever exchange financial details online before the transaction has been complete because you don't want someone to run off with your money while they still have their wristband.
Mm-hmm.
Another issue in recent years has been that people have been selling wristbands and then reporting them stolen because they're already registered. So now that they have a Coachella app that you can use to register your wristband, hopefully this will help combat this issue, but it's still something to keep in mind when actually going and purchasing your wristband.
Yeah, that's a really good advice because I think that's very important, and I think I saw in some community that if you have some doubt, just screenshot it and then ask the community to for their advice, and then they can tell you. I think that's helpful. Because then you're
Definitely.
not going through something alone that could be a scam.
Right. So you had an issue with a scammer
Yeah, I have an
a
issue with
couple years
this.
ago.
Yeah, so last year I had an issue with a scammer. So I won Coachella ticket, and we actually they were from New York. They they actually had a fake. They actually have a fake driver's license that they sent over.
Mm,
So I was asking for verification. So I was just like, well, you're from New York. I'm not sure, if you're going to send it to us, but I'm not going to pay, the full price right now. So can you send me your driver's license? And they sent it, However, it's not, they're just scammers. So just make sure that the people from far away usually are not they may not be real. I'm not saying that everyone isn't, and even this year, like someone from New York also wants to sell me a set of tickets, and he complained and just kept testing me that he was very sad that the wristband won't be of use, and that was very questionable because there are so many people who wants to buy it, so why wouldn't he be able to find a buyer? So I mean, there's a lot of people who use emotions to try to scam you. So just be careful and just don't take it like too personally. I ended up
yeah.
getting the tickets from someone in the Bay Area, and I met her in person, actually at the airport because I was about to travel somewhere, and she was legit. I had her name. I think I was messaging her on Facebook. I met her in person, and I knew, I think I pay her via Venmo, so everything was fine. So I guess, Venmo and PayPal have buyer protection, but Zelle doesn't, because even though they're offered by Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Chase, they don't provide buyer protection, so you can't reverse the transaction.
Yeah. So lesson learned. Be careful about your payment methods before you uh, secure your wristband, for sure. I actually purchased mine in cash. I met the person at a designated location probably the day before I drove out to Palm Springs. And I was so nervous, but I'm so happy that everything worked out and that it wasn't a scam.
Yeah, that's like super super awesome. I mean, I think the entire experience was a lot of fun thing. It was very magical, actually. So I think we spoke about a lot of the app, the lineup, the fashion. We spoke a lot about the place, transportation. Is there anything else?
I would like to talk a little bit about Coachella's campaign for consent, actually.
Oh, sure. Oh, that's
I have
awesome.
never seen, yeah, I've never seen a festival talk about it so openly. In recent years, a lot of talk has been going around about this culture, this rape culture at festivals, and it's really unfortunate. Um, it's a reality that a lot of people are under the influence either of alcohol or drugs, and that people aren't always communicating to the best of their abilities. And unfortunately, a lot of people have to deal with assault and harassment at festivals because there's just not enough communication. So this year, Coachella actually had this whole thing around consent and asking for consent, what consent looks like. And of course, a lot of people hook up at festivals. It's not uncommon at all. And they even had a survey going around about, whether people had experienced harassment or assault. I know you had an experience which I won't pressure you to share if you don't feel like it,
I
but
actually don't mind. So the funniest things was Andrea and I were having lunch at Marketplace, and we were asked to see if we wanted to do a survey on sexual assault and and consent, and we were like, oh, we haven't experienced any of it, right? So a few hours later, Andrea went to the car, and I was listening to music by myself. It was really windy, so I basically sit behind a fence near Sahara. And this, so right next to me on the right, there was a couple who sat next to me, and they were fine. They were just minding their own business. And then all of a sudden, two guys, one of them sitting right, like, sat right in front of me. The other one sat right next to me. Like, I meant next to me, meaning that there were no space between us. It was really close. And he kept saying, "Oh, do you want, to be my girlfriend?" And then he was eating something, and he basically shoved what he ate, is eating to me and said, "Do you want some?" I said, "No." like I don't want any. And then he finished eating. He threw away the container on the floor. And then he wiped his hands on the hoodie that I was wearing. That's actually yours. That
it was
I
my
was
hoodie.
wearing, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so gross. So he just kept bugging me that I just left. Like, I gave up my seat because I didn't want to be harassed any longer. His friend who was sitting in front of me just left. And I basically, just left. I just couldn't believe, like, that's the way, people treat other people. So I didn't really enjoy that experience. But I'm glad that I
Yeah,
left, because had I stayed there, I think it would have gotten, like, worse.
right. And looking back on it now, it's almost funny, but still, that kind of behavior is really unacceptable. And I appreciate the fact that Coachella is doing this everyone consent thing, and I hope that they further it and make these surveys and information kiosk um, report stations more widely available, just so that we can cut down on it.
I was,
So they
oh,
ask you to be, responsible and always ask for consent. Be respectful, and remember that everyone deserves to be safe at this event.
I was wondering if they can have reporting systems or stations, like, at just, at certain places, like they had charging stations. I think that would be
Hmm.
cool, because then, if you miss the survey, then you can kind of report it, right? Like, what do you do when you're harassed? What does harassment mean? Like, is someone wiping his hands on my back? Is that harassment? Is someone, like,
Absolutely.
sitting really, really close to me? Is that harassment, right? Without any space between us at all. Because I think sometimes, like, guys, or other humans, think that is not harassment when someone is sitting really close to you, because they haven't touched you. Like, what is consent and what is harassment?
Yeah. And it really is difficult too, because people come from all over the world to attend Coachella, and everyone comes from a different culture. Personal space in the U.S. is different from personal space in France or Spain, um, or in other countries. Canadians, they like more personal space than even, Americans in the U.S. So it's hard to kind of draw the line, you know. But I say, if someone puts their hands on you without asking, um, and there's no like clear reason. Obviously, if you're going through the crowd, it's impossible to avoid touching people. You're going to bump into people. You're going to squeeze through the crowd. That's kind of acceptable because it's a festival, but is someone coming up to you and like patting you on the shoulder in a more private area, you know, is that acceptable?
No.
It's kind of hard to draw the line in some instances, but I would say that what you experienced was definitely harassment, totally unacceptable, and there should definitely be more accessibility when it comes to reporting those kinds of, things.
I actually found the picture that I took of everyone where it defines consent, and it says consent is freely given without pressure, manipulation, drugs, or alcohol. So you're not drug. Reversible. You can change your mind anytime. It's informed. You can only consent to something if you have the full story. Enthusiastic. Engaging in consent should be fun. Only do things you want to do. And specific. Saying yes to one thing doesn't mean you're said yes to other action. Ongoing. Every new act needs consent constantly, and that's adapted from Planned Parenthood. So I think the lesson is that if that man basically says, "Hey, can I use your can I wipe my hands, with your back?" That would have been different.
Yeah, an odd request to be sure, but I suppose it would have changed things slightly. Still, I would say one of the biggest things to keep in mind if you're planning on attending a large festival of this kind is be respectful, be responsible, and be safe.
That sounds like very awesome and very important advice because we just wanted to go there and we want to be safe and have fun, and just really enjoy the music. Um, so we have about 5 minutes. So in terms of returning and Coachella withdrawal, because you have like 3 days of fun. Like how do you relax afterwards?
Oh man,
I think
it's
that's
so
hard.
tough.
Yeah, that was really hard because I think remember the third day, like we ended at midnight and not at 1 a.m. So we were like, what do we do now?
Yeah, I remember we got back to the hotel and we went straight to sleep and basically got up the next morning and left.
Yeah.
Um, I had this great opportunity to drive through the desert for the Desert X art installations.
Oh, awesome.
Got some great photos. And that whole exhibit, the Desert X exhibit, is all throughout Palm Springs and the Coachella Valley. And it was such a nice opportunity. But in terms of like relaxing and like, what do you do after Coachella? I can't wait until my next festival, honestly, and I'm a little sad that I won't be going to EDC Las Vegas this year, but I am so looking forward to Coachella next year and possibly Burning Man in August.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited. So after I think I caught my flight around 6:30, like I left around 6. So I was flying out of I think a very small airport in Palm Springs. And it was a lot of fun. A lot of Uber driver was very surprised because it wasn't the main airport. It was like a very small airport. And the ride was like 3 hours. It went very smoothly. My friend was the pilot, so we actually flew
Oh, nice.
to we flew to Palm Springs to have breakfast. I mean Santa Monica to have breakfast, and then he flew us back to San Carlos. And my car was there at the airport. So everything went really smoothly. So that was like super super awesome. To be in a small airplane and to actually see him like fly. A lot of California is just so beautiful. Like from even if you're
Hmm.
driving, from the sky and just from everywhere. I can't wait to go to Coachella again.
I know. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think next year will be a lot of fun. I actually wanted to try the camping experience, so I have not done that
Yes.
yet.
Yeah, they actually have a lot of great activities for campers, and it seems like it's such a small thing, but really they provide so many different services and
Hmm.
games and food, and just it seems like a next level experience. So it's definitely on my bucket list to go camping at Coachella.
Yeah, and before I go, I just want to, I realized one night that there were a lot of trash, like bottles at Coachella. And for me, it's a little bit different because I went to Burning Man, and, Burning Man is really about no leaving no trace. So there's really nothing
Hmm.
on the floor. And in Coachella, I just saw so many bottles after each night. So I just wanted to appreciate and thank all the volunteers who are there, and all the, workers who help us clean the place every night and every day and every morning. That's very awesome.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Yeah, they do. Like like there were a lot of bottles and trash and everything else. So, even throughout the day, people were picking up trash, for the people who are enjoying the music, So I know it's really hot sometimes, so it's a hard job even if you're getting paid. So I just wanted to, send them gratefulness, if anything.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show. I will see you at Burning Man.
All right, I'll see you then.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.